Welcome to Indiana Sports Beat Radio.
So for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world. Time!
3 on the way. Oh! It went in! It went in! And Indiana wins the ball game!
Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni!
Float game for the win! Ayler's gone. Goodbye. Touchdown, Indy. Woo! IU. America. They got a football team now.
It's pretty simple. I win. Google me.
You know that I'm the cream of the crop.
Now, here's Jim Coyle.
Hello, everybody. Welcome aboard. Glad to have There we go. Radio station affiliates like 97.7, ESPN, The Ref, always the right call in Evansville and Southwest Indiana, and up in the region on the voice of the region. 12:30 a.m., 104.7 FM, WJOB, and in Fort Wayne on Fort Wayne's only sports station, 1380 The Fan. Glad to have you along with us on this Tuesday. I knew the weather was going to get back up there, peeps, and that it did. It has kind of snuck back up there with temperatures getting in the upper 80s. That's okay, though. That is okay. I hope that you're ready for this weekend, man. If you're coming to this football game, it's going to be a big one as Indiana, number 19 Indiana, hosts number 9 Illinois in a Big Ten top 10 battle. Well, for Indiana, it's a top 10 battle. The NCAA bans players for gambling. You know, I've talked about, I think it was last week, that they're going to catch you. Why? How have you not seen these people get caught? Why? I don't understand why they don't do the smart thing and don't bet on your teams, man. They're going to catch you. 3 Division I men's basketball players have had their eligibility permanently revoked after the NCAA's Committee on Infractions discovered they participated in gambling, including betting on their own games and manipulating their performances to alter outcomes, according to a statement released by the NCAA on Wednesday. The 3 players, Steve Vasquez, Jalen Weaver, and Mikael Robinson, all played at Fresno State at one point in their careers. In February, the Fresno Bee reported that Weaver had been held out of games due to an investigation into gambling. That followed news that Robinson, who hadn't played since January, was also MIA. And in late February, Vasquez, who had transferred from Fresno, was removed from San Jose State's online roster. Fresno State holds itself to the highest standards, but yeah. I get it. You didn't understand, blah. That's okay. A person briefed on the investigation told The Athletic that the situation at Fresno State involving Vasquez, Weaver, and Robinson is not related to the federal investigation involving the 2024 Temple point shaving scandal, which has ties to Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier. Man, people, can I say it again? You're going to get caught. It might not be today. Obviously, they're not going to catch you right off the bat. They will catch you. And here's the thing. All right, here are their numbers on this. During the 23-24 season, so we're looking at what, 2 years behind? Almost, not quite. Robinson, Vasquez were roommates at Fresno State. According to the NCAA, in January 2025, Robinson texted Vasquez, who was then at San Jose State, about his plan to underperform in statistical categories. Oh, okay, hold on, wait. So not only are you going to ignore the advice that you're going to get caught, you're going to text somebody about it. Perfect. Leave a paper trail of sorts, an electronic trail. Yeah. What's the worst that can happen there? Three individuals, Robinson, Vasquez, and a third party, bet a combined $2,200 on Robinson for his underperformance, winning a combined $15,000. Additionally, Robinson placed 13 daily fantasy prop bets totaling $454 on parlays that again included his own performance. He didn't win on all of his bets, but collected $600 on one. So you get the picture. Guys, you're going to get caught. Now, it's going to take them a while, especially because look at all the bets that they're chasing and all that goes with that. But you're going to get caught. What was the old commercial? You're going to get caught and you got to go to jail. But I just don't know what to say. It's in an era where you can make money legally, and I would think a lot easier. Hell, an individual player could go out and get his own NIL deal that probably paid this per game or whatever with no chance of getting in trouble. But not only are you going to do it, are you going to break? These are not just NCAA rules. Well, yeah, I think that which would fall into some federal statutes, man. You're committing fraud. You're doing, and I'm sure there are federal statutes on the books because of gambling. Is this considered interstate? Because, who do they play? The bets, was the bet place? There's so much you could go into. But long story short, bye-bye Birdsong. But yeah, why? I mean, we've seen it time and time again. These people get caught. They have the technology that they're scanning with. It must be some pretty good stuff because it works. It works. Indiana basketball. I'm sure some folks were upset by the old Hoosier hysteria kind of going by the wayside, and in place of an event, a live outdoor event that's going to take place on Kirkwood Avenue. But in lieu of not having that, Indiana is going to have an open scrimmage for folks. So in essence, the same thing, and probably better, actually, because Hoosier hysteria was nothing but fluff and puff. What did you get out of that? Boom, 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 bumping music, spotlights. Nah. Give me basketball. I want to see something. I want to see what that team is made of, which I got a good look in Puerto Rico. I want to see the differences, and we'll all get a chance to do that as the Indiana men's basketball program will host an intra-squad scrimmage at 7 p.m. on Friday, October 3rd at Simon Scott Assembly Hall. The October 3rd, that's a break. That's a bye week for Indiana football. Now, I think it would have been cool if they would have had it on a Friday before a game, but I'm sure there are underlying reasons. The Cream and Crimson scrimmage presented by Smithville will provide Hoosier Nation with its first official look at the program under first-year coach Darren DeVries as Indiana began its offseason with changing Hiram DeVries. He is the 31st head coach in Indiana program history. The new look staff comprised of assistant coaches Drew Adams from right here in Bloomington, I should say. Rod Clark, former Tennessee assistant. Kenny Johnson, former Louisville, former Indiana assistant. And Nick Norton, who came in with Darren from West Virginia. They brought in the 10th ranked transfer portal class, according to 247. Now, that's pretty good considering you never heard of pretty much every single player that was brought in, save for Tucker DeVries, and Trent Sisley doesn't count. And so I didn't realize it was ranked that highly. It's an impressive group of scrappers, of guys that want to play, that will get after it, that will play defense. People, I'm telling you, you are going to enjoy what you see, and I promise you, that night you'll get a good dose of it. And what you're going to see is Bulldog defense, especially out on the perimeter. Connor Enright and Peyton Connerway, little Bulldogs. Lamar Wilkerson loves to play defense as well as shoot the three. I mean, he got the contributed on the winning basket in Puerto Rico in the final game and the defensive stop to end the game. So you're going to get your chance. It's free. Attendees asked to bring a canned food item to donate to the Hoosier Hills Food Bank. This is basically how it used to be honest with you. This is what it originally was. We'll talk to Todd Leary about this on Friday, but this is, Hoosier hysteria had gotten to be just nothing, but it was kind of worthless, if you believe me. And this is a much better look. I mean, especially for a lot of these people travel to this that don't have season tickets. Well, they'll get a chance to see the team play instead of people riding out in cars and getting introduced to music, spotlights. Much, much better. Russell says that Hoosier hysteria about as old-fashioned as the 1940 it was made for Mike Woodson stuff. No, Hoosier hysteria was a good thing. They just morphed it into something not. It used to be about basketball. And it was the men's program, and I'm not saying that both shouldn't be included. So then they had the men's and the women's, and you only have time for so much. I much prefer this. And because they won't be just farting around out there. Five thinks I sound like an old grandpa. No, I just think that this is better. And then you have the live event down on Kirkwood Avenue, which is a very, very cool thing. Bill thinks that these young players are entitled, but yeah, some might be, but most aren't. And if you think otherwise, you don't have the right thoughts going in. Hey, I'm going to take a break so you can be ready when Mr. Mike DeCourcy joins us here. Jamie Shaw coming on with us today as well. We'll talk about Anthony Thompson's visit with Indiana last weekend. They've got another big visit coming up this weekend and how the future might look for the Hoosiers. And much more. Glad to have you along. Back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio right after these messages.
Andy Moore Honda is Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer for a reason. Buy a new Honda and get a 3-month break from car payments. That's right, no payments for 90 days. That includes the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue. And you get it for just 0.9% financing. or the 2024 Honda Ridgeline Black Edition or the Honda Accord LX, both for just 1.9% financing. Get more to your door from AndyMooreHonda.com, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer and your best place for new and used vehicles. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemooreSells@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today.
Huddle up, football fans. Tailgate season is here, and nobody gets you ready for game day like Academy Sports and Outdoors. Swing by your local Academy store or shop online at academy.com to find everything you need, from grills to jerseys and more. Be a watch party legend with gear from top brands like Nike and Under Armour, all at unbeatable prices every day. With 8 Academy stores across Indiana, including our Bloomington location, fun can't lose, and neither can you. Gear up today at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Zach Browning here to tell you about an offer you simply can't pass up. If you're looking for the best coverage of Indiana football and basketball, which includes recruiting, weekly chats, podcasts, as well as access to the best national team out there, then look no further than thehoosier.com. The best part, it's just $1 for the first week. Oh, and did I mention that you get a full year of access to The Athletic when you sign up? You can't beat the coverage, and you can't beat the deal. So head over to thehoosier.com today and sign up for just $1. It'll be the best decision you ever made.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Tuesday. Looking forward to Mike DeCourcy joining us in a little bit. But while we're waiting for him, let's hear what Curt Signetti had to say yesterday as he met with the media ahead of this week's matchup with top 10 Illinois, number 9, the Illini, Brett Bielema. Well, you know what? Mike's with us. We'll pass on that. We'll come back to that a little later. Good day, Mike. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, Jim. How are you?
If I was any better, I'd be Mike DeCourcy. What's new in your life? What's been going on? I know that you're covering soccer a lot, and we've got college football underway. Keeping Bill Bender busy, probably.
Absolutely. I had lunch with Bill Bender last week, as the soccer game I covered last week was in Columbus. So I got a chance. Yeah, one of the fascinating things about work in the 21st century, Jim, is that you work with people every day and may not see them for years. So I think the last time I saw Bender was at maybe the Big Ten championship game or something like that in 23, the Big Ten football. I think that's the last time I saw him. He's a fantastic teammate, one of the absolute best. And so it was really cool to get a chance to hang out with him for a little bit.
Yeah, it's like I see you every week, but I see you maybe twice a year, maybe in person at a Big Ten event or something like that. But it feels like I see you more than my daughter.
That's not good.
Maybe I'm going to have to schedule her as a regular guest on the show.
I think that's a good plan. I do.
That would be the only way to get to see her once a week, as she is down at Ole Miss in Oxford, still having one last year of I don't know how much. I'm sure it's fun. See, they won over the weekend, a great close game against Arkansas there, so she got to experience more of the Grove in her grad year. But college football, man, it has not disappointed so far. No. Again, these games have been great. The wealth has been spread. Yeah, you look at the top at the AP poll, and you're going to see the old familiars: Ohio State, Penn State, LSU, Miami jumping in there, but Georgia, Oregon, Florida State resurrected like Lazarus. They were dead in the water, and that's wow, what a rebound for the Seminoles.
Well, I don't know how they can do it, given that their coach clearly isn't capable, because they wanted to fire him, 3 weeks into last year. So how did they do it? Jim, one of the things that distresses me most about my business in the 21st century is not, like I said, I'm used to not seeing my colleagues, but I will never get used to firing coaches being the second most popular sport in America. It is so nonsensical. They're already trying to fire Caleb DeBoer at Alabama. He's been there for, I think, 15 games. And his track record, it's not like they dragged him off he's out of some booth somewhere with a play card in his hand. The guy has been a massive winner his entire career. And he stumbles a little bit at the start at Alabama. And by stumbling, I mean they didn't go 12-0. And the media thinks that, too many in the media, I should say, think that the fun thing to do now is to say, okay, when's he going to get fired? He should get fired. This is why you should fire him. Clearly, the people who have the money are going to want him fired. It's just a preposterous construct and it's not specific to the 21st century, because I wrote a column in 1994, I think it was, when Lou Campanelli got fired by California in the middle of the year. And I was critical of that and critical of the media's reaction to that. And I just one of the things that I remember about that column is that Jim Calhoun wrote to me or called me or whatever and told me how much he appreciated it. So that media hunger for the coach's dismissal is not new. It's just now more voluminous. You've got Twitter and you've got all these 24-hour sports networks and all that. And so they have to fill them. And so instead of filling them with analysis of, okay, so what's Caleb DeBoer doing wrong? What is Alabama not doing that he could do better? Well, I'm listening to that. I want to know. I want to hear from people who watch Alabama every week. And I know they're out there, but their voices aren't as loud, Jim, because it's not as easy to say, I think the board really needs to look at how his offensive line is blocking, or the approach. Does this approach work in the SEC? Does he need to tinker with it, or whatever? I want to hear that. That's what we should be here for. But too often it's just so easy to just say fire him. He's been there 14 games and he didn't win them all, so clearly he's not any good. And that's what's happening at Florida State now. You're seeing a coach who had won every single game in the regular season just 2 years ago that they wanted to fire because his team struggled last year.
And I think it's two things there. There's a I don't want to say a groundswell, but a faction of fan bases, and some journalists jump on that just to grab their viewership, to grab their, whether it's clickbait, whatever you want to call it, because it's something that you can stir up. It's no different than these preseason stupid polls, which have never been more ludicrous in our lifetime than they are now, because nobody knows diddly about any team. You might know who they got, this and that, but you don't know how they're going to perform. I mean,
right.
How many people out there were predicting Notre Dame to start 0-2? Hello? Bueller?
Right.
Bueller? No. So, and they're still not, although they probably should be, they're still not out of the CFP, because whether people want to admit it or not, Notre Dame is a valuable property, and they want them, if at all possible, they want Notre Dame in the CFP. They want that brand in there. They want these brands. Ohio State, Penn State, Georgia, they want those brands. They don't care about Boise State. They don't care about Indiana, because they don't bring much to the party. Let's be honest. And Indiana fans,
that's the prevailing thought, Jim. But we haven't had the experience of seeing an Illinois-Indiana game in the college football playoff, so to speak. I mean, obviously because they're this, but we're going to see them on Saturday night in prime time, and that matchup being the prime time choice for NBC. The Here Comes Saturday Night game, I like to call it. I love those promos with the band. And so I think that's a changing paradigm in college football. And we'll see on Saturday night. That game's going to do well. I don't know what its competition is. I'm not saying it's going to win the time slot, because I don't know who in the SEC is playing Saturday night. I haven't looked at that, but it's going to do well then because people are intrigued now. They want to know, and the college football audience has the ability to see, to try out things now that they didn't before. Before it would be, well, Illinois, Indiana on a Saturday night or on a Saturday afternoon, Saturday morning, it would be an inconsequential game. And now it's a massive game because it's not going to just be Ohio State, Alabama, Clemson, and Oklahoma at the end of the year. Jim, this is a true stat. For the 10 years of the 4-team CFP, for the 10 years, those teams consumed more than 60% of the available bids to the 10-team CFP. The 4-team CFP for 10 years. 4 teams got 60% of the bids. That's not ever going to be the case again under the new playoff rules. They may win them all. We'll see. They won, they're 1-0, but they're going to have to earn it. It's not just going to be granted to that subset, and then whichever of you has the better team gets to win it.
Yeah, I agree. And this could not be any better for both Indiana and Illinois, because both of these programs are trying to be what I call the fourth Mount Rushmore of Big Ten football right now, whatever you want to call it. They want to be that 4th CFP entry. If you think about the CFP, you're going to get 4 teams in. On
an average year, that's 100% true. I did the numbers on that. If you had a 12-team CFP during those 10 years from 2014 to 2023, the current Big Ten membership averaged 4 members a year. The current SEC membership averaged 4 entrants a year. That's the way it worked out. It was, I think it was like 3.9 in the Big Ten's case and 4.1 in the SEC, something like that. There were some years when SEC membership got 5, some years when Big Ten membership got 5, but it averaged out to 4. So you're 100% right.
And I forget what I was saying. But anyway, this is,
you were talking about wanting to be the 4th team.
This is and normally you don't get the matchup against that other team. Illinois and Indiana are budding for that. Indiana got it last year. Illinois wants to have it this year. They were getting all the buzz, all the talk, and Indiana's been quietly, which is unbelievable to say, but they have been quietly going about their business. And this is a huge matchup because Kurt Signetti, to me, I don't want to use the word has to, or must win, but Michigan was a great win, but it's still not a signature win to me because they weren't ranked. This would be a signature win. They're Illinois ranked in the top 10. Doesn't matter if they were as good as that Michigan team or not. It's irrelevant. But because the perception is they're a top 10 team. So the perception will be you either win or lose to a top 10 team at home. And I think that if Indiana has thoughts on returning to the college football playoffs, this is a must-win game. Iowa is a must-win game because you have Oregon and Penn State on your schedule, which losing those games on the road will be acceptable and should still be good enough to get you into the CFP.
Right.
Because of this game.
Yeah. The schedule, because both of those games are road games, the Ducks and the Nittany Lions, because they're both road games, it doesn't leave you with a lot of margin for error. Now, it's not impossible for them to win either of those games, but it's going to be really difficult. So that's why it just isn't. And certainly Indiana fans would understand this, right, Jim? You take care of business at home. That's what you take care of business at Assembly Hall. You take care of business at Memorial Stadium. That's how you got to think that way, because it's not any longer you have to be perfect. Now, of course, the Hoosiers were able to come pretty close to that last year, and that's part of the reason they got in. But you don't have to be perfect to get into the college football playoff, but you have to achieve. And winning at home against the elite opposition that comes into your building is is what you have to cover if you want to be part of that playoff. You want to win at home, and I don't think splitting on the road is going to do it as it would in the NCAA tournament. But you have to you have to only lose on the road against those teams that are high and mighty, that are really accomplished, really talented. In this case, as you said, if they are able to win all their home games and the road games against very capable teams like Iowa, but not elite teams, you went on the road and lost those other two, you'd be fine, and you would almost certainly get one of the last spots in the field.
I agree. And you asked earlier, we talked earlier about who was playing on Saturday night in that time slot.
Yeah.
The SEC, it's Florida at Miami, which that's where game day is, of course, even though Florida not a great start, but let's be honest, they carry the SEC and the ACC. So
right.
I would not expect them to not do that. That's promoting their own brand, their own product. So I get it, but that's what Indiana will be up against. In addition to Georgia State at Vanderbilt, nobody cares. LSU is playing Southeast Louisiana. It's funny how none of these teams get lambasted for these teams they play. I'm like, they all do the same damn thing, people.
Oh, no, Jim. They don't do the same thing. They do more of that thing.
Yeah,
they don't at this stage. They have now the LSU, of course, played the Clemson game, and so there has. But they have played those November FCS games forever, the Mercers and the Citadels and all of that. And
get right games at the end of the year.
In the Big Ten, they haven't done that, because once they get into conference play, they got 9 games to get in. So look, I think that the Big Ten has to, especially now that the SEC has gone to the 9-game model, plus you have to play a P4 out of conference. I think Indiana is going to have to reassess what they've done with their schedule over the past 6 to 8 months.
Well, it's not just the Big Ten, and that's funny that you went there. You must be reading my mind, because this is where I was going to go, and I'm going to hold this over for a segment. But I want to talk about how long before the Big Ten. I was just talking about this with somebody last night. They're going to have to match the SEC, and the SEC's deal goes into effect next season. Yeah. So the longer the Big Ten waits, that means, well, it doesn't mean anything, I guess, in today's day and age. Games can be scheduled. We've seen that. Before it was always, well, no, I'm sorry, this game is scheduled 14 years in advance. We cannot change this.
Yes.
We all learned that was crap. We knew it was crap, and now they can change it. But I'll talk more about this in the next segment. But is Indiana going to have to buy out of more games to keep up with this, keep up with the Joneses, so to speak, when the Big Ten makes that decision? And they're going to have to up their game with a P4 requirement, I think, because that's what the SEC is doing. Yeah. But we'll talk about that. Mike DeCourcy from the Sporting News is with us. Make sure you're giving him a follow at TSN Mike, and keep it up with all of his great content at the Sporting News, our nation's oldest sports publication. Man, they were keeping track of sports back when George Washington was leading his troops over the Delaware. Man, I'm telling you, it's entrenched in this country. Mike was there from the beginning. We've got more coming up on Indiana Sports Beat Radio right after these messages.
Know a team or group needing a fundraiser? Boost Fundraising raises more money faster and offers the most unique and user-friendly online fundraiser in the nation. Your team receives personalized fundraising pages for each team member. Free team-branded promo gifts shipped to each donor. Boost Fundraising does it all. Sports teams, marching bands, charity causes, and community groups. Go to boostfundraising.com and be sure to enter the promo code Coyle, that's COYLE, to receive a discounted fundraiser. Whether it's a night out with the family, after work with colleagues, or catching the game with friends, Bubba's 33 is the place for you. Bubba's 33 offers a mouthwatering menu of selections that are all made from scratch every day. The portions are big, but the prices are small. And with over 50 big screen TVs, you'll never miss the big game. Bubba's 33, pizza, burgers, beer.
Zach Browning here to tell you about an offer you simply can't pass up. If you're looking for the best coverage of Indiana football and basketball, which includes recruiting, weekly chats, podcasts, as well as access to the best national team out there, then look no further than thehoosier.com. The best part, it's just $1 for the first week. Oh, and did I mention that you get a full year of access to The Athletic when you sign up? You can't beat the coverage and you can't beat the deal. So head over to thehoosier.com today and sign up for just $1. It'll be the best decision you ever made.
Huddle up, football fans. Tailgate season is here, and nobody gets you ready for game day like Academy Sports and Outdoors. Swing by your local Academy store or shop online at academy.com to find everything you need, from grills to jerseys and more. Be a watch party legend with gear from top brands like Nike and Under Armour, all at unbeatable prices every day. With 8 Academy stores across Indiana, including our Bloomington location, fun can't lose, and neither can you. Gear up today at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Tuesday. Glad to have you along. Mike DeCourcy going to be rejoining us here in a second. And we were talking about what we're going to be talking about. The SEC made the decision to finally get off the schneid and go to 9 conference games, but they are also keeping their requirement that their teams play a P4 team among their 3 non-conference games. Now, most SEC programs aren't going to have a problem with that. Georgia plays Georgia Tech. Kentucky plays Louisville. Auburn plays Alabama. I could go on. Kentucky. Did I say Kentucky plays Louisville? There's plenty of those. Mike rejoins us, and Mike, I was just saying that, setting the table really, that the SEC, they finally pulled their big boy pants up and went to 9 conference games.
Yes.
But they tightened the belt and said, and we're keeping our P4 requirement, which that Greg Sankey, he said he was sick and tired of hearing Kurt Signetti and the Big Ten people, throw darts at him. And now there's not a damn thing you can say. Not only that, but now you got to go back to the drawing board, and you're going to have to keep up with the Joneses, because this is huge for the SEC as in the end of the year, college football playoff metrics and all that. Hey, we played this and we, play this schedule. So the Big Ten, how long can the Big Ten wait before they have to keep up with the Joneses in essence?
Well, it's interesting that they allowed themselves to get one up like that, because they were the ones that had, for the life of the current circumstance, which I think really goes back to the pre-Texas Oklahoma additions to the SEC. Even going back maybe to when Penn State, when the Big Ten added Nebraska, once the Big Ten went to 9 games, they were always one ahead of the SEC. And so to allow the SEC to sort of throw another card down that that the Big Ten hadn't played, I was surprised that they kind of got caught like that. But I think that they absolutely need to go to the P4 requirement for non-conference. First of all, I think it's better for the game. I think it's better for fans. I think it's better for the sport to have games like that. How many people watched Ohio State and Texas, Jim? People want to see those games.
Oh, absolutely.
How many people watched Pitt and Duquesne? Not many. Not many. So yeah, you want those games, and so I think it'll be good for college football. I think it'll be great for the Big Ten to have those games. A lot of them on their field, some of them on the road, but you schedule smart. You take advantage of the scheduling power that you have. That win over Texas was enormous for Ohio State and for the conference. And those are the kinds of games that you want to play and in a non-conference. And then when you get to the end of the road and you're starting to really get serious about picking teams, that win will be remembered, not just for Ohio State, but for anybody that happens to beat Ohio State, if anybody does.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, I agree with you, because
boy, all the hype that went into this. Boy, Texas is they've got Arch Manning. He's average right now. I'm not saying he won't get to be extraordinary. Right now, he's average. But I was watching the Oakland game last night, and boy, there were times I'm like, Geno Smith? I think I'm like, he's terrible. I was like, he's terrible. Then you're like, how'd he do that? So you can tell he's still learning the NFL game. He takes sacks and this and that, but you can just see because it's so much. But Texas was a bunch of hype, and they're still hype. They haven't done anything yet, and yet they're still. Where the hell are they ranked? Aren't they still in the top 10? Yeah, they're number 8. They're 2-1, and I don't think that they've looked all that great. But if they're not, they'll be exposed in the SEC schedules. That will come out. But great opportunities are there, but you create perceptions, and the SEC has the perception of still, even though the Big Ten has won the last couple of the national titles and are maybe favored to do it again right now, the perception is still that the SEC is the number 1 football conference, I think, because they have depth right now that the Big Ten doesn't have. I think the SEC.
But how do you establish that, Jim?
Well, again, maybe it's wrong perception. Maybe but I think that without seeing the cross playing, you can't. But I also hate, big games at the start of the season are awesome, but it's also weird because we look at a team like Indiana, man, have they gotten so much better through these first 3 games. Now, if they played a really good team in game 1, they probably were not going to come out of that very well.
But, it doesn't have to be week 1, though. It could be week 3. It could be you play 2 games to get ready. Even take a bye week and then play your tough non-conference game. There's lots of ways to do it. But in order the perception and the metrics, because the metrics, once the SEC went to the requirement to play the P4, and the ACC's doing this because they desperately need A, the money, and B, the gravitas that you get from playing P4 opposition. That's why you see Clemson playing against an LSU. Clemson always has a difficult game because they can't get away with playing 3 soft games if they're then going to play in the ACC, which has a lot of games that aren't super challenging. So they have to play those sorts of teams. So you see that develop in other conferences. So you need to have those games, because when you get to the actual selection process, the metrics are going to start to really matter. They said they're going to matter this year. I still want to see that. But when the other leagues are all playing P4 opposition, and you're not playing that many, I mean, I think I did a chart for an article about a month ago, and there were at least it was about half and half in the Big Ten that had a P4 opponent, somewhere around there, where the SEC had many more than that, but then they only had the 8 conference games. So they technically, by the end of this season, will have played fewer P4 games than the Big Ten will. But next year, when that goes into place, they're automatically all going to play 10 each. So I think the Big Ten needs to be there.
I do too. And I think they need to be there in 2026, next season.
Yeah.
Now, how feasible is that, since they have yet to make this announcement? Maybe the ADs are working on scheduling right now,
right?
And maybe they're getting their ducks in a row to be able to announce it and go, yep. And here are scheduled changes coming up, which that's a lot. That's a Herculean effort to get all that done. To now you've got canceling the game is easy. You just write a check. Which, boy, again, my dream job was either to be a coach to get fired or a team that doesn't have to play a game.
But Jim, in order to get that money on the second, you would pretty much have to embezzle it. So I don't think that's your dream job.
Well, or I could be like Bubba Cunningham. Maybe I could get it that way. Ba-da-bow. Oh man. There we go. How about that? Oh, I'm here all week, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, it's going to be something that has to be done. It's going to make football better again yet. College football, which I've been having a blast already. In the NFL, these games have been great. So many close games, at least the ones on TV that we're seeing, these close games. It's just, I don't know why, but it seems like all of sports has just gotten better in the last couple of years. And in the NBA last year, look at the two teams at the finals, the two of the smallest damn markets that they have. Yes. So it's impacting everywhere somehow. But
everywhere but where, Jim?
Hockey,
Major League Baseball.
Soccer?
Oh, Major League Baseball.
Yes. No, yes, and no, was it no cap?
No salary cap.
No salary cap.
And that's why when we visit every week, we don't talk baseball.
How are they ever going to get past that? I mean, it is what it is. You pay, you basically, in essence, buy a team. There's a reason why Ohio State and Penn State and Georgia and these teams are able to stay at I promise you, they're paying the most in NIL money. That's just a fact. And the Dodgers, the Yankees, all of these big city market teams, you look at Cincinnati, man, they're hoping to hang on. As a matter of fact, I had an email I sent to myself that was just that very thing. Terry Francona, they're a game back, man. They're sitting there just barely holding. I bet you their total payroll is a couple of months for the Yankees. It's mind-boggling, but they, just like we want to see the brands in other sports, in college football, whatever, in baseball, it's not quite that, because they're all Cincinnati's a brand. They're just a small market team. They're one of the original teams. They are so much history. They used to win at the highest level. They've been kind of moneyed out of that, I guess, with how baseball is structured, unfortunately. But I think that hurts baseball personally. Absolutely. And why it has been the NFL is so far surpassed baseball as a sport in America that people want to watch. I mean, I like baseball, don't get me wrong, but why am I going to watch a Reds game when I know 80% or 75% chance they're going to lose, number one, and not have a chance at this? So baseball needs to get with it and include everybody, because right now they are eliminating a huge market, I think.
Oh, 100%. It's become the sport for the biggest cities, the biggest markets, Philly, Chicago. And I know that Milwaukee's having a great year, and they've had great years before. They have a terrific franchise that does their best with the limitations they have. But I don't think they've won a playoff series since 1982. Maybe they've won one since 82 when they won the series. Or when they made the series, the Brewers. I think they made the series in 82. So they
considered maybe the best team in baseball right now.
Yeah, but that's what they have, the best record. But we'll see at the end of the year, because they have had great teams before. And it always seems like that little extra that the Dodgers, Yankees, Phillies, whoever it might be, that little extra always seems to put them over the top. We'll see whether or not the Milwaukee can do it. We've had 3 3 champions from outside the top 15 markets in this century. 3 in Major League Baseball. In the NFL, I believe it's 13. So it shows you the difference. 3 from outside the top 15 markets. In the NFL, more than half. It hasn't mattered the size of your market. You could be Kansas City, you could be Buffalo, you could be Baltimore, and you can win. You could be Pittsburgh, or you could be Indianapolis. They won Super Bowls in this century as well. But the Pirates haven't won a World Series since 1979. That was 46 years ago. And if they continue to play at the current rules, the odds are that another 46 years will pass, and they won't be back to that level, that they won't be back in the series. They won't win one, because that's the way. There you go, Brian. We are family. That was the year. Yeah, absolutely. And it was so much fun. You think about baseball in the 70s, the Pirates, the Reds, the Orioles were all big winners, but so were the Yankees and Dodgers. And the Red Sox. Everybody had a chance.
The Reds' biggest rivalry was with the Dodgers. The Reds were in the National League West Division, which even back then made no freaking sense. And I always laughed, why are the Reds in the West Division? But regardless, it was awesome. It was great. So, yeah, missed that. Colorado, Deion Sanders, things have really taken a turn. I read that in the first 3 games of their in 2023 season, his first year, they drew $25 million. I mean, 25 million viewers, the most in the sport. Now it's not so much. Now they just lost to Houston. What are they now? 1-2.
They're 1-2. They gave Georgia Tech a pretty good game, and Georgia Tech has shown themselves to be pretty capable.
Beat Clemson,
and beating Clemson over the weekend. So Georgia Tech's a nice program. Colorado played a very difficult non-conference schedule, obviously, with playing Georgia Tech, and now they'll play Wyoming in their next game this weekend, and then they'll get back into the league, and they're going to have a rough ride. It's going to be a tough season, but teams have transitional seasons. I think that Deion needs to build up his recruiting prowess beyond his family. I mean, he had 2 sons who were great players. Travis Hunter, of course, not his son, but the Heisman Trophy winner last year. But Deion has to use, they have to use what they have. He's still a very attractive figure in terms of appeal, and now he's fought this cancer battle, and he seems to be winning that, and that's great. And and so maybe some of what he was unable to do in the past 9 months had to do with his health. I think Deion's a fine football coach. I really do. I think he's shown that, and with experience and time, he might become a great football coach. So I think this is a transitional year for them, in much the same way as Jim Norvell had last year at Florida State. Maybe not quite as disastrous as they had at Florida State last year. Maybe so. We'll see. But I think Deion, once he's totally through this health issue, will show again that he's a very capable, if not outstanding, football coach. He very well might be outstanding. I think he just needs a little time to see whether he is.
What's up next for you, brother?
Yeah, I'm working on a story that will appear Friday, I believe, that will be very close to the hearts of Hoosiers. I'm looking at this Illinois-Indiana game and its importance on the college football landscape, and how really cool it is to have Illinois-Indiana be kind of one of the, if not the game of the week, one of the games of the week. It may very well be the biggest game of the college football week, which is really awesome.
I think that it is. When you've got a top 10 matchup, you've got 2 ranked teams, and it's teams that are, like I said, one of these teams will have a college football playoff trajectory, and one will not after this game. Although Illinois has, you want to talk about easy schedules? Go look at the Illinois schedule. I mean, it's not a cakewalk, but it's not a fraught with terror, let's say. Make sure you're giving Mike DeCourcy a follow and reading the content at the Sporting News. Appreciate you as always, my friend.
Thanks, Jim.
We've got more coming up. Greg Rakestraw joins us next. And after that, Jamie Shaw from On 3. We're back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio right after these messages.
If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemore@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today. When it comes to apparel and promotions, Freethink has you covered, literally, whether it's 24 or 200 shirts for sports leagues, businesses, or groups. Freethink Apparel and Promotions can also create your very own merchandising store. Freethink Apparel and Promotions did it for Indiana Sports Beat Radio, and they can do it for you. Whether it's screen printing, embroidery, digital printing, promotional products, vehicle wraps, or anything else under the promotional line. See what Freethink Apparel and Promotions can do for you at freethinkapparel.com.
Huddle up, football fans. Tailgate season is here, and nobody gets you ready for game day like Academy Sports and Outdoors. Swing by your local Academy store or shop online at academy.com to find everything you need, from grills to jerseys and more. Be a watch party legend with gear from top brands like Nike and Under Armour, all at unbeatable prices every day. With 8 Academy stores across Indiana, including our Bloomington location, fun can't lose, and neither can you. Gear up today at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Whether it's a night out with the family, after work with colleagues, or catching the game with friends, Bubba's 33 is the place for you. Bubba's 33 offers a mouthwatering menu of selections that are all made from scratch every day. The portions are big, but the prices are small. And with over 50 big screen TVs, you'll never miss the big game. Bubba's 33, pizza, burgers, beer.
Welcome back. Indiana Sports Beat Radio coming to you on this Tuesday and joined by the great Greg Rakestraw from the ISC Sports Network, normally with us on Mondays, but we always switch things around when need be. Greg, how are you? How was your weekend?
My weekend was great, and thanks for allowing me to get a little golf yesterday. I was playing in my friends, the Indy Card Exchange first annual golf outing, so hence the Tuesday appearance on the show, so thank you.
Hey, I'm jealous I wasn't playing with you, man. Let me know about that next year, and I will bring a team or whatever, and do the show from on site. I love that. I love doing that stuff.
Yep, we'll do that, certainly.
Well, I really love playing golf now because I've been playing better, Greg, and after all these years, I'm like, what in the world? But finally, just some little tweaks here and there. Not great, but at least where you feel like you're chasing competitiveness. Before, I was chasing insanity.
Right. And so what I do is I only play out in golf, and I recruit 3 really good players. If I hit like 4 or 5 good shots around, we consider that a win. And it's exactly how I played yesterday.
Smart move. Smart man. That's the way to do it. And yeah, it's that time of year, man, getting an extended golf season with this weather, by the way, which we know what's going to happen. With this weather spiking back up into the upper 80s, you know it's going to hit a wall, and it's just going to drop like it rolled off of a cliff, and we'll be down in the 50s. It just like that.
Please bring that on, please. That's why I went to Iceland on vacation, Jim. I pray for the 50s to happen as soon as possible.
Tell me about Iceland, man. Did you participate?
So Iceland was it's what I missed you in July. Iceland was tremendous. I hope I get the chance to go back. We went during the was it 24 hours of sunshine, but it was close. Never really fully got dark. Had a wonderful time.
Did you feel like Al Pacino in the movie Insomnia? It's a great movie.
You know what? Apparently, I partied enough and drank enough where it wasn't that big of a deal. I had no problem sleeping through the night. It didn't bother me a bit.
Problem solved. Problem solved. Problem not solved. Well, great that you got to do that, man. That's one of those places. I want to go to Ireland. That's my next destination. Has to be. Indianapolis has direct flights to Dublin now. So
correct.
Okay. My name is James Patrick Coyle. I'm Irish, and I want to take my daughter to Ireland. I think that would be just a fun thing to do, and just go hang out and enjoy the Irish countryside.
So, ironically enough, I got back from Iceland on July 26th. My mom left for Ireland August 1st, so took advantage of the Aer Lingus direct flight from Indy to Dublin. It was the first time she had been out of the country. My mom is in her early 80s. She had a blast. She was over there for 10 days and loved every bit of it.
Well, that sounds incredible and awesome to do. Sports-wise, I guess we'll start with high school. What was your high school weekend like?
So high school for me was a little bit different because 1 week a year I go down to Washington, and my buddy Joe Morris, his team at Washington, has us down 38-35. They beat Princeton. First time they had beaten Princeton in back-to-back years in 14 seasons. After an 0-2 start, the Hatchets are 2-2. After a 2-0 start, the Tigers are 2-2. Those are two football programs that historically have struggled. You could tell they are getting better. The star of the game for Washington was their kicker, young man named Carter Browning, who made 4 field goals in the game, including the game winner. I want to say his game winner was probably from just inside 40 yards, had a long of 43 in the game, and he made said game winner with 10 seconds left to go in the game.
That is everything. I was just talking with Mike DeCourcy about how all sports seem to have – the tide has risen on all sports as far as competitiveness and just the I don't what's the word I'm looking for, where it's spread out. Daggone it, my mind is drawing a blank here, but whether it's college football, even the NFL, we've got teams that are just, these games are great. Look at the Colts with a 2-0 start, first since 2009, and it's a big deal. And my God, how lucky. You're not going to get any luckier than the Colts got against the Broncos with that flag on that field.
No doubt about it. No, and to Shane Steichen's credit, his answer on Monday to the question about play calling was a different answer than the one he gave on Sunday night. And so for those that don't follow kind of the coverage of the Colts, the head coach of the team basically speaks, I want to say I'm counting out loud here, 4 times during the week: game day, day after the game, Wednesday, Friday. So there we go. Yeah, he speaks 4 times during the course of the week. And so immediately after the game, he was like, well, we just wanted to make sure that we didn't kick the ball back to him, make sure the time ran off the clock, which I understood that logic. The next day, it was, hey, we had our timeouts left. I probably should have put the ball in Daniel's hands. We still could have managed the clock. But that was the general feeling that everybody had. Buddy, you played for a 60-yard field goal, missed it, and got lucky on a penalty call that oftentimes is ignored, and got a second chance from 45. So, yes, the Colts played well. The Colts also got lucky. Both things can be true on Sunday.
Yeah, I was one of those people. I'm sitting there going, what are you doing? You've ran like 4 straight plays. Once they got a first down once, I think, but then I'm like, you ran 4 straight plays that gained nothing. You did nothing. You just moved around. I'm like, you had so much time. Why not, have confidence in what you're doing and run something that may have a shot at getting some yards. But because they were in that area of where it's probably just a little too far. As a matter of fact, they were saying that even in pregame, the longest he was knocking them down from that end was 59 yards. So it was already, out on the limb a little bit. So I was a little surprised by the play calling.
Me too. And again, Shane kind of did the mea culpa thing about that yesterday. So I understand. And honestly, they have a world of confidence in Spencer Schrader. You saw Brandon Aubrey of the Cowboys make a game winner from 64. I thought Mike Tirico was great. And Mike touched on this on the opening night of the season. There are different balls that the kickers use compared to what the quarterbacks use. How you've been able to doctor, massage, treat, break in, depending on how you want to phrase it. The balls has been different. Now the kickers are allowed to work with them a little bit more. In other words, you should expect to see more 60-yard field goals made on a regular basis, especially when you're indoors. So, again, I understand the logic, but at the same time, lesson learned, and especially given how Daniel Jones is playing, give him the chance to make a play, get an additional 5 or 10 yards. If Shane played for a 50-yard game winner, nobody says boo about it. When you play for a 60-yard game winner, then you open yourself up to criticism. But again, fate intervened for the Indianapolis Colts, and they're 2-0 for the first time in 16 years.
Yeah, Brian says that when he called that last run, Mrs. Irsay, Gordon's eyebrows went up. That is different. There has to be some intimidation knowing that your owner is on the sideline tracking on the headset and tracking you.
I would think so, but at the same time, as long as you're winning, things tend to take care of themselves.
Right.
And again,
everything, baby.
Right. With the good start, I don't think Charlie is going to change yet. I think she's going to remain on the sideline. But everybody knows this was a make or break year for everybody involved. This was kind of a reset point for this franchise if things didn't go well. 2 games do not make a season, but at the same time, this is the best seat the Colts have had in some time. They're leading the AFC South. They're 2 games clear of the Houston Texans after last night's comeback win by the Buccaneers. And so life's pretty good for the Colts. So my guess is I don't think Shane's sweating that right now, Jim.
I agree. Nor should he be, because he's getting a clear and open hand, and it's been a start start for the ages. I mean, it's 2009 since they have just started 2-0, which someone put up. Teams that start 2-0 have a 70% chance or shot at making the playoffs, which very, very good for the Colts, because that's something else they haven't been good at here of late. So that's all that matters. And like I said, winning cures everything without question. What's on the docket for you this week?
So Friday Night Football, Ben Davis and Warren Central. Warren, after losing their opener to Center Grove, has won their last 3. I would say Warren and Lawrence North play each other in week 7, and that is likely going to be for the MIC championship. Ben Davis is a bit younger this year. Now, they put up points each of the last 2 weeks against Pike and Center Grove, but Center Grove put 63 on them last week. So Ben Davis a little bit young this year, but that rivalry game should be a great one. And then it's Colts and Titans as the Colts head on the road on Sunday. A Titans team that is struggling, a Titans team that is playing their first pick in Cam Ward, and it's kind of a slow rebuild in Nashville. So this will be more of a unique position for the Colts going into the game with the weight of expectations and being a heavy favorite. I thought this team handled success well in terms of how they played against the Broncos. Clearly, the Broncos did some things offensively, went to school on the tape from week number 1, and also took advantage of a defense that didn't have Travarius Ward and Leatu Latu, and picked on Xavier Howard a little bit and made him look like a guy that didn't play in the National Football League last year. So I think it's a different game this time around. The Colts are the heavies going into this one, and we'll see if they play like it.
Well, let's hope so. Hope that continues, as, man, the Colts fans, they don't go anywhere. They are one of the best groups in college in the NFL. It may not be the biggest, but they are as consistent as any fan base in the NFL. Which I'm not saying that they're more so than, say, Pittsburgh or the old stalwart places, but Indianapolis has not had a lot of winning, but they didn't go away. It's like Indiana basketball fans didn't go away. Even during their worst times, Assembly Hall was still filled, and as is the case for Lucas Oil Stadium.
Well, I would say is that there have always been a lot of Colts fans that have made the trip to Nashville. And to be blunt, right now it is not exactly hard to get Titans tickets. That Colts fandom obviously ties into the years of Peyton Manning playing for the Colts and Peyton Manning being a Tennessee Volunteer I was there in 2006, which is obviously Super Bowl season, but people forget Colts lost that game, and Colts were not playing well at the end of the 2006 season. That game was in early December. That stadium was probably a third to 40% Colts fans. And honestly, you see much more of a preponderance of road fans now at games than you did back then. So given the 2-0 start, I would imagine you will see a lot of Colts fans in Nashville this weekend.
Hey, you never know. I might end up down there. Gritty says she's on the fence about going to Nashville on Sunday. Tickets are cheaper than going to Indy. There you go.
Yep.
So, great. Not only is it a great opportunity to see a football game, see the Colts, see a different city. Nashville's a great place to go to. And if the weather's good, that's a fun day, man. Brother, I appreciate you as always.
We'll talk to you next Monday. See you, bud.
Have a great weekend. Greg Rakestraw from the ISC Sports Network. Make sure giving him a follow and keeping up with all their great content that they produce out as the high school season continues, and his work with the Colts. Jamie Shaw is going to join us next from On 3. We're going to talk some basketball as Anthony Thompson completed his visit this past weekend for Indiana. They've got another one coming this weekend as well. We'll talk about both of those and what else is going on out in the world of college basketball when he joins us. I mentioned earlier, if you missed it, Indiana basketball will be hosting an open scrimmage coming up. That is in October 3rd, I believe, is what I said. I don't have it, but yeah, it was October 3rd. It's on a Friday night at 7. That's during Indiana football's bye week. So, yeah, nothing else that has to go on. I would see what the soccer schedule's like, though, is Indiana number 1 in that, but they did get upset by Michigan. So, see if they remain number 1. But, yeah, that open scrimmage, that's going to be fun for fans. I'll talk about that with Jamie Shaw as well. He is On 3's guru when it comes to reporting. And Indiana has got several big-time recruits that they have offered, that they've had in. And this, while this is similar to what went on during the Mike Woodson era, it's different. But we'll take a break right now. And when we come back, Jamie Shaw from On 3 will join us, and we'll talk more about that and much more. Indiana Sports Beat Radio coming to you on this Tuesday. Glad to have you along. We're back with more right after these messages.
The ISC Sports Network is your home for sports content across the Hoosier State. Find us live on TV and streaming or archived on our website and our app. The ISC is your one-stop shop for the content you want to see, including high school sports, college sports, and other great events throughout the year. Subscribe to our streaming service and get access to it all. ISC. Local lives here.
Know a team or group needing a fundraiser? Boost Fundraising raises more money faster and offers the most unique and user-friendly online fundraiser in the nation. Your team receives personalized fundraising pages for each team member. Free team-branded promo gifts shipped to each donor. Boost Fundraising does it all. Sports teams, marching bands, charity causes, and community groups. Go to boostfundraising.com and be sure to enter the promo code COYLE, that's COYLE, to receive a discounted fundraiser. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemore@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today. When it comes to apparel and promotions, FreeThink has you covered, literally, whether it's 24 or 200 shirts for sports leagues, businesses, or groups. FreeThink Apparel and Promotions can also create your very own merchandising store. FreeThink Apparel and Promotions did it for Indiana Sports Beat Radio, and they can do it for you. Whether it's screen printing, embroidery, digital printing, promotional products, vehicle wraps, or anything else under the promotional line. See what FreeThink Apparel and Promotions can do for you at freethinkapparel.com.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Tuesday. Glad to have you with us. Jim Coyle, as always, and joined by our good friend Jamie Shaw from On 3. How are you doing, my friend? How is have you been able to relax any at all here in this little bit of downtime?
Jim, man, things are great. No relaxation. We go straight from AAU. We get rankings updates straight from that to visit season and all that. So, it's a 12-month-a-year job. So, very exciting though. Very exciting.
And you can imagine how busy guys like Jamie are when you're covering the sport. So, and recruiting is probably one of the most specific things that there is, because it's just cut and dry, but it's so massive because there are so many teams, and now there are so many moving pieces because of the transfer portal and NIL and blah, blah, blah. So, better you than me, my friend.
It's incredibly fluid, just like you said. While at the end of the day, you only sign with one team, leading up to that, the months leading up to that, especially in this climate that we're in currently, things got started so late with the transfer portal, pushing everything back. Things getting started so late with this 2026 class. There's a lot of fluid movement to be had, and a little bit of unknown ahead as well with the 2026 class. So it keeps us on our toes, as you said. And it's incredibly exciting time.
Absolutely. For Indiana, the big visits last weekend they had others before, but Anthony Thompson was in over the weekend, and they have another one coming in this weekend. Huge weekend in Bloomington as number 19 football team is hosting number 9 Illinois. So it's going to be an electric environment at Memorial Stadium. I don't know how much that carries over, but I would think that it's got to be something when you go on a visit and you've got an electric environment versus one that's not, to get you part of just jacked up, because fan bases and their passion is, I think, something that makes a mark on people. That's why Indiana's been able to maintain a higher status than its performance has provided in the last couple of years, because they're still, whether people want to admit it or not, they're still a blue blood, and that's not going to change. They just need to get back to acting like one.
No, for sure. And anytime that you're immersed within a rabid environment with a fan base that's just going, crazy, when you have chants going with your name on it and all that type of stuff, it's hard to ignore that. It's hard to cast that aside when you're on your visit, and just a whole bunch of the environments just very rabid, as I said. So players mentioned that. They talk about it. Obviously, it's not the end all be all when it comes to a decision. However, it is something that sticks in their minds.
Absolutely. And so what, from what you gathered, how did the visit go? Which they all go, oh, it went great. So that's the dumbest question that I could ever ask, but I don't know how else to start that conversation.
No, for sure. When it comes to Anthony Thompson, I think Indiana's kind of been toward the top of his group, even dating back to the old staff. If you remember, he's taken unofficial visits, even dating back to his early high school days, continuing forward. And then with this new staff, the new focus that they've put into it, and the new juice that they've built, they've maintained toward the top part of the group. Feedback coming in from the visit was very positive. As you said, all official visits are positive. But Indiana's done a pretty good job positioning themselves to be able to strike in this recruitment where things stand.
And that's huge, because Indiana has been bringing guys in for the last several years. They've been on these lists, but weren't quite making the cut. I think that if Anthony Thompson was on board prior, he's probably more on board now because of, well, to be honest with you, what he is going to see in practice, what he saw in practices and scrimmages, because I know I got to see it. We got to go to an open practice, and I was down in Puerto Rico for those games. I know what he would have seen. I know how Darren DeVries's teams are going to attack, and that is an appropriate word. They're going to attack defensively and offensively, and it's modern basketball, and guys got to love it because the 3-point shot, you want one, take one. As long as you got a pretty good shot at hitting it, there will not be a lack of 3-point attempts by this Indiana team. That's something I will guarantee you. But the defense is just as important. You can tell the importance is placed by Coach DeVries and the players.
No, for sure. I mean, if you kind of look at the construct of this year's team, obviously he got into it a little bit late and had to go through the portal and all that. But if you look at the construct of this year's team, they have a point and they have kind of a 5-ish position. And then they have 3 people at the 2, 3, and 4, traditional 2, 3, and 4 that are fluid. They all have length and they all have shooting ability. They all have processing ability to make play in their with the ball in their hand. And that kind of fits right into exactly what Anthony Thompson is. Kind of as you mentioned, looking at the style, looking at the system, looking at how they're playing, the construct of this team fits toward what he is as a player. And it'll be interesting to see continuing as it moves forward what that looks like. What that ultimately looks like is it is very modern. It is very spacing. It is very, move the ball, drive and kick, and knock down shots. The high efficient rim 2s and 3s.
Yeah, and like I said, I think that now, man, our player comes in, they're going to love what they see. And I think they're more of them will want to be a part of it because I can see how Peyton Conaway plays, and he loves it. He's a bulldog. Connor Enright, bulldog. They love it. Lamar Wilkerson, scoring machine, but a defender. He likes to get in your face, man. And when you have guys that like to play defense, people should get a better understanding of why Darren DeVries brought in the guys he brought in. Not a lot of big names. Most of them people had not heard of, but they still managed to get the 10th ranked portal class. And I think that's pretty good with what I saw. And Indiana fans are going to be pretty happy.
No, for sure. And he did a great job of kind of catering around what he wants to do. That modern offense that you mentioned, length and fluidity at the guards and forwards. You got a 1 and a 5 that can kind of heat the ball up and then guard play at the rim a little bit, and then fluidity in the middle of the lineup. I think he catered toward that, and it'll be interesting to see. And then back to with Anthony Thompson, you're still watching schools like Michigan, and he has that Kentucky visit coming up at the end of September. That's still on the books for right now. So. It'll be interesting to see how things close. I don't think this is anywhere close to being done, this recruitment with Thompson. But I think Indiana has positioned themselves to be in the conversation as things are starting to wind down a little bit.
Yeah, and now you can be in the conversation, but there's so many other facets, a lot of ins and outs for you big Lebowski fans. NIL being, we just call it NIL, but because rev share is rev share. I don't know how much rev share is going to matter because everybody's kind of got the same, but it doesn't mean you're going to get paid the same. But NIL opportunities just add to that. And that's where schools like Kentucky have set up an LLC so they can really ramp up their NIL efforts.
No, for sure. And that's a conversation that's had in every recruiting trip. It's interesting to see how that's going to play out because, as you mentioned, with the rev share, a lot of schools are going to allocate the funds that they have toward players that are going to help them this next season. A lot of times in the college landscape, the current landscape, high school freshmen or high school seniors, upcoming freshmen, might not necessarily how much that they'll help gets into the conversation. But then you have some unknown stuff upcoming with the 5th year. You have some unknown, a lot of unknown right now when it comes to NIL, when it comes to what you have to be able to allocate fund-wise out there. So those conversations are interesting to be had. Again, as I mentioned, there's a lot of unknown right now when it comes to schools and what they actually have.
Yeah, because we know who is at the top as far as that, but we don't know what's what and how it's being dispersed. I would sure love to be in those conversations. Not that I need to know what they're making, but it would be nice to know what they are making compared to whom and why. But what a can of worms that would open up, huh?
No, for sure. Absolutely.
Because it's already enough that they deal with it. But if the media were talking about that would just suck. That would really be a negative, I think.
No, I mean it's it's just in any normal walk of life. I mean, I know not many people wanting to talk about what they make and all that type when it comes. Obviously, when you have guys that are trying to compete for a spot on a team, knowing what the next person makes, maybe it's more, maybe it's less, or whatever the case. That gives a pecking order when it comes to things, and maybe somebody's performing up to par, maybe somebody's not performing up to par, maybe somebody's overplaying or all that type of stuff. And like you said, just a whole nother can of worms that comes with knowing those numbers.
Ethan Taylor is another gentleman that Indiana is looking forward to hosting this weekend, I believe. And he's got a great game to come in for. Let me tell you, sold out. He's got a ticket, baby. But he is a 7'1" center, and a point of emphasis for Indiana, I think, because their center this year is a little different. It's not so much on height, but more about universal ability. Reed is able to do a lot of things, but they don't have that true set center, like we should call the Purdue center, because Purdue has, golly, I just saw that there's a Chinese player, 7-foot Chinese player, that it's down to Illinois and Purdue. How does he not take Purdue over Illinois unless it's just money, which I would be somewhat surprised. But as much as Purdue has done so well with the big guys, and I don't mean this as a slap to Matt Painter, but they haven't, other than Mount Edie, who was just a freak of nature, they haven't put a lot of big guys in the NBA.
So I guess yeah, Ethan Taylor coming in this weekend is going to be very interesting to watch. He's already gone to Oregon and Oklahoma, and then he's got 4 more visits that are on the schedule currently. We'll see if he continues to take them all: Indiana, Kansas, Michigan State, Kentucky. I think a lot of people are watching these next 2 visits that Ethan's set to take: Indiana and Kansas, coming up here to close out September. 7'1", 7'2" center, legit size, and he's somebody who has continued to kind of progress in an upward fashion over the last, we'll say, 8 to 12 months or so with his game. He had a very good EYBL this summer, very efficient, high around the basket, and he kind of does fit that role, as you mentioned. Kind of somebody that you can plant around the rim, act as a vertical floor spacer when it comes to the dunker spot and a rim runner, somebody that finishes around the basket, somebody that also protects the rim and gets rebounds. Kind of does the big guy stuff, the tough guy stuff. Rod Clark has done a good job positioning Indiana within this conversation. They are a group that has consistently been mentioned throughout the course. While the top team and all that stuff has fluctuated throughout the process, Indiana's kind of steadily been mentioned toward the top tier of this. And as I mentioned, these next 2 visits that he has, Indiana and Kansas, are currently 2 that a lot of people are kind of watching with Ethan Taylor.
Yeah, the current on 3 rivals layout has Kansas at about 27%, then Oklahoma, and then Indiana, but that could have changed, like you said. We'll have to see. Kansas, we've all seen, tough to beat when it comes to that tradition play, but we've seen them level out. They did not have the season that any one of us expected last year. So, hey, they're human, right? And that's what that proves. Braylon Mullins expected to start for UConn this year. That's big for him.
Yeah, no, Braylon Mullins is, there's even talk about him, the possibility on the NBA front and all that coming out of this year, seeing how things go. They're very excited about what he could do. The kind of the pull to Kansas with Ethan is that he's from Kansas. That's his home state, home city. Grew up kind of going to games there and all that. So, Kansas, there's familiarity there with the program.
And that's going to be hard to beat as well. Just ingrained in you, but we'll see. I'm sure that they'll end up getting a center. That's something you have to have. Hey, I want to talk about the Field of 68 joining on 3 too. That's I'm sure we'll be hearing you on there quite often, but pretty big news and very cool thing.
Yeah, massive news. And Shannon Terry's done an unbelievable job in expanding the football coverage, bringing value, as he always talks about, bringing value to the subscriber by bringing national commentary. And he set forth after purchasing Rivals of putting in place on the football side a host of people that have varying opinions and voices, that have different expertises when it comes to what they're talking about and all that. Now it's on the basketball side. You bring in Rob Doster and Jeff Goodman, two seasoned veterans, two guys that have done an unbelievable job in building the Field of 68, coming together to kind of build that voice. And they're two people also that when they talk, the landscape listens. Whether or not they agree, that provides discourse, that provides conversation. But when they talk, the landscape listens. And that's huge ads for On3, huge ads for Rivals. When it comes to visibility, when it comes to leading the conversation across the landscape, the Field of 68 coming on board is steps closer to that.
Yeah, if you go to the Hoosier.com, which is the Indiana On3 outlet, not only do you get On3 and Rivals, a subscription to the Athletic, Field of 68. What am I leaving out? My gosh, it's an all-in-one stop and shop, man.
And an interesting thing that they have too is where they're really pushing is community. So Shannon wants, we'll say with the Hoosier, wants the Hoosier employees to be on the message boards talking everything, but he also wants the national voices to be able to come on and have discussions and conversation along with each person. So the Steve Wilfongs of the world, the Joe Tiptons of the world as well. You have access to them through the message boards when it comes to building the community, when it comes to conversation, and when it comes to just general understanding of enjoying the college sport that we all love.
Absolutely. And just like I said, the level of information, whether it's from someone like yourself or Joe Tipton on the basketball side, if a story's going to break, it's going to break via On3. I can just tell you that without question. So you're really missing out if you do not have a subscription to thehoosier.com. I'm telling you, it is the place to go. And you can check that out for only $1. And I was trying to finish writing something, but to post that, which I will do now. But yeah, you can check it out for just $1. See what it's all about. And then you get 50% off in the first year. And you get the free subscription to The Athletic, which I read virtually every day. And you get all the national content from On3. And you get the content from the Field of 68. You're covered. And a lot of Indiana fans are not fans of Jeff Goodman, but that's because he says things that are true, probably, and that I used to say, and I'm trying to, ride the line a little better. He doesn't have to as an outside national reporter. When you're I call myself a beat reporter as far as Indiana is concerned, because I'm on that beat all the time. You have to ride a different line. I mean, you're going to tell the truth, but sometimes you may not tell it with as much salt as I normally would.
And two things I want to kind of add to that. One, when it comes to your team specifically, interacting with Alec, interacting with Kyler, both very bright minds. Kyler on the basketball side with his scouting and his ability to kind of see talent and evaluate kind of what's happening in front of him on the basketball floor. And then Alec's just a grinder, just somebody that goes out and gets information. He finds it and gets it done. You have a great team at the Hoosiers. So not only you get the national stuff, you're getting some dudes that know the beat, that know the ins and outs of what Indiana's doing, and they know, and they can kind of uncover situations as they happen. So you have a great team there as well. But also I want to shout out Talia Goodman, obviously Jeff Goodman's daughter on the women's side. She has absolutely killed it over this past year that she came in and done a great job covering the women's basketball side and all that, even setting the pace kind of on the women's basketball side as well. So there's just so much value that On3 has right now. And, it's almost like the Monstars in Space Jam when it comes to what Shannon Terry's building, when it comes to this. The team sites are strong, and the value from the national side when it comes to everything is just so high right now.
Yeah, lots of announcements. It's crazy how, it was already a rocket ship, and then it just started. It's like grabbing the satellite discs as it flew through through space. It was grabbing up other things out in space. Chris Lowe, now a part of On3, is a senior national college football writer. They just keep adding great people. None greater than you, of course, but it's there, man. What is up next for you? What is up next for Indiana? What are your thoughts on, do they land any or some of these top ranked guys?
Yeah, I do. I think there's going to be a firm eye planted on Anthony Thompson and Ethan Taylor. I think those are two. They're kind of at the top of the list. Another name is Latrell Almond. I think that it's worth monitoring as well. He just took his visit to Tennessee. We'll see how kind of things progress if a commitment date starts to form for him. But I think those are three names Indiana fans between now and the early signing period in November on the high school side continue to pay attention to and monitor how things go.
Buddy, I appreciate you as always. And as we get closer to basketball season, Indiana, they canceled Hoosier Hysteria, which had become kind of a joke. It was worthless. It was worthless. It was a waste of time for me, because all it was people coming out, riding out in cars, getting spotlights, introduced, yada, yada, throwing T-shirts. And that was about it. It used to be a scrimmage. Well, now they're going to have a live event down on Kirkwood in Bloomington, which if you've been to Bloomington, you're always busy working, so you may not know where Kirkwood is, but there's a place, Kirkwood Avenue, lined with a lot of the bars in town, and they're going to have a live event out there, which is very cool. Louisville does that on 4th Street Live, but they're also having an open scrimmage October 3rd, the weekend of Indiana football's bye week. So there you go. There's a chance for you to come watch them if you want. But I think the fans are going to like what they see.
Yeah, no, that's massive. Anytime you can get excitement around, and just anytime you can build excitement, live, people like to be there. People like to be in the mix and touching and feeling and seeing and formulate their own opinions. Live music, live events, live games, scrimmages, open. That's a wonderful thing. It only builds camaraderie around the program.
AG says Shannon Terry, the originator, he is the guru. First of all, people, he started Rivals, sold it. He started 247 Sports, sold it. He started On3 and then started gobbling everybody up. But now I understand why the headquarters is in Nashville. Shannon's a legendary Lipscomb Bison, which Indiana just recently brought the Bison back as a mascot. So there's a little crossover. But
how about this? Shannon Terry was a 6'5" shooting guard at Lipscomb. When he graduated back in the 90s, he was the top 10 all-time leading scorer in Lipscomb history when he graduated. Wow. I think it's kind of moved down, maybe 12th, 13th now. But yeah, he had a pretty prolific basketball career in college.
Yep. Russell asking about Prince Moody, hoping he's a really good guard because you might be deficient in that area in the class of 26. We'll see. That's what the portal's for.
Well, one thing Prince Moody you can say is during Pete's Jam, he led all shooters in three-point shooting percentage, over 46% from three during Pete's Jam. So he might not be super dynamic as a player, but he kind of elevates the floor, somebody who's able to dribble, shoot, and pass and fill in a lot of gaps.
Dribble, shooting, and passing. If you got that, you got it all. Jamie Shaw from On3. Make sure you're following him and keeping up with all of his late-breaking content in regards to college basketball on Indiana, the Big Ten, whatever. He's got it all, and he's out. He's boots on the ground, baby. He is boots on the ground. That's your new nickname, boots on the ground. Or we'll just have to shorten that to Boots. What's up, Boots? We got Boots. Buddy, I appreciate you, and I look forward to seeing you. You got to make it in for anything?
Say it again. Am I what?
Will you make it into Indiana, Bloomington for anything?
Not on the docket right now, but I'm not averse to making something happen.
Right. you're not a game by game reporter. He's got other things to do. Appreciate you, brother. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Jim, keep doing a great job, man. The Hoosiers, make sure y'all all sign up for it and everything. It's unbelievable coverage.
Appreciate you, buddy. Appreciate
Thanks,
you
Jim.
so much. Jamie Shaw from On 3 joining us from parts unknown. Russell says it. Thanks, Jamie. I like that. I did not know that about Prince. There you go. Hey, that's why people say, well, why should I subscribe? Because that information is what you get. Inside information is what you get. Alec Lasley has done a tremendous job of expanding his contacts and has broken many stories. Joe Tipton is going to break the stories. It's coming from On 3, and it's the content, but it's also the boards where everybody gets in there and talks about what's going on. But what you can get with all of that, the athletic and everything, that's a crazy good deal. More coming up from Indiana Sports Beat Radio. We're going to hear from Kurt Signetti when we return after these messages.
Andy Moore Honda is Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer for a reason. Buy a new Honda and get a 3-month break from car payments. That's right, no payments for 90 days. That includes the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue, and you get it for just 0.9% financing. Or the 2024 Honda Ridgeline Black Edition or the Honda Accord LX, both for just 1.9% financing. Get more to your door from AndyMooreHonda.com, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer and your best place for new and used vehicles. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemore@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today.
Huddle up, football fans. Tailgate season is here, and nobody gets you ready for game day like Academy Sports and Outdoors. Swing by your local Academy store or shop online at academy.com to find everything you need, from grills to jerseys and more. Be a watch party legend with gear from top brands like Nike and Under Armour, all at unbeatable prices every day. With 8 Academy stores across Indiana, including our Bloomington location, fun can't lose, and neither can you. Gear up today at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Zach Browning here to tell you about an offer you simply can't pass up. If you're looking for the best coverage of Indiana football and basketball, which includes recruiting, weekly chats, podcasts, as well as access to the best national team out there, then look no further than thehoosier.com. The best part, it's just $1 for the first week. Oh, and did I mention that you get a full year of access to The Athletic when you sign up? You can't beat the coverage, and you can't beat the deal. So head over to thehoosier.com today and sign up for just $1. It'll be the best decision you ever made.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Tuesday. Glad to have you along. Thanks a lot for joining us. Jim Coyle with you as always. Just finished chatting it up with Jamie Shaw from On 3. Kurt Signetti met with the media yesterday ahead of this week's game with Illinois. Number 9 Illinois, a top 10 matchup for the Hoosiers and an opportunity to get a signature win. A lot of people might think that the Michigan game was a signature win. That was a big win, but I don't know. You could debate it either way. You know, I could debate that it was. I could debate that it wasn't. There's a no doubter because Illinois is ranked in the top 10. Many people think that this is this year's Indiana. So Indiana has to take care of business and show that, hey, Indiana is this year's Indiana again. But also to back up last year, to solidify the trajectory of the program. And most importantly, you have to win this game if you have thoughts of the CFP and where you'll end up at the end of the season. It's not to say that Indiana can't go 9-3, but there are just games they need to win to take a step up in the eyes of a lot of national people. But let's hear what Kurt had to say.
All right, Monday. Okay, generally pleased with the progress we made last week. Take a few penalties out of there, and there's always a few other things to clean up. Focused on the prep for Illinois. obviously, good football team. Ought to be a great environment. Saturday night, looking forward to it.
Junior status.
Yeah, BB sustained a non-contact knee injury and will be lost for the season.
And with Kobe Martin, obviously played strong in that fourth quarter plus. Is he a guy that might be, ready to step into a larger role, to make that back to a three-back rotation?
Yeah, he's going to need to. And I thought he ran well Saturday night. And, he's got talent, and he'll get more reps. And we're going to need him.
Question, but they've got Luke Altmaier, a very experienced quarterback. I'm sure you've seen a lot of him, whether it's scouting for this game or maybe just watching him play other teams you've scouted. What are your impressions of what they do with him at that position and how they kind of accentuate his strengths?
Well, first off, bigger picture, they're a really good football team. Got a lot of good players, a lot of veteran players. Coach Bielema does a great job, him and his staff, in all three phases, offense, defense, special teams. Veteran quarterback, has got arm talent, very accurate, can extend plays. He's won a bunch of games for Illinois. And that's the one thing about Illinois is they know what it takes. The success they had last year, returned a good nucleus of guys, added some new ones. Very much kind of like us, good core, returning that understands what it takes. So ought to be a great matchup, but impressed with Altmaier.
Kurt, last year the schedule seemed to progress kind of perfectly as far as challenging. This year you start right off with a top 10 matchup. Any difference in preparation, or is it just a natural thing that goes
Not
with
really.
players?
I mean, look, last year before the season started, we were probably favored in 3 games, right? We were picked 17th out of 18 teams. So every Big Ten game that we went into, we were an underdog before the season started, maybe with the exception of Purdue. So, last year's in the books. It's a new year. Illinois is a good football team. We're a good football team.
Matt, upper right, Coach, just want to say, what you've seen so far from Illinois defensively on tape? I mean, what kind of challenges will they present for you guys?
They've morphed a little bit schematically, starting in the bowl game last year against South Carolina in some of their coverage packages, and carried on into this season. Multiple personnel groupings defensively, 4-2-5, 5-1-5, 5-2-4, 4-1-6, and others. They do a nice job of disguising coverage. Got some nice disguises. And they play a lot of guys, got a lot of good players. Run to the ball, get a lot of hats to the football. Good pressure on the quarterback, tight coverage. Really tied together well with good players.
Sammy, upper right, Zach Beat.
Coach, Hank Beatty, their main punt returner and receiver, what makes him so hard to defend on offense, and then what do you need to do in the punt game to limit his opportunities?
Yeah, well, he's our leading receiver, but they do spread the ball around. He's a good player, good ball skills, good movement skills. As in terms of a punt returner, hang time always helps. Give the coverage time to get down there and do a great job with our coverage net, tackle in space.
Coach, you said that you've had to coach this team harder than you have in years past. How much progress do you think they've made on that front heading into week 4?
Yeah, I think, first 3 games, that was the recipe. We had to bring this team along as far as we could. We were playing teams we were pretty heavily favored against. ODU turned out to be a pretty decent team, didn't they? So now, that we're ready for Big Ten football. And, I like the progress we've made. Now we got to stack days, meetings, practices, and days in preparation, put ourselves in the best position for success Saturday night.
Yeah, Kurt, Illinois hasn't had a turnover this year. What makes them so efficient offensively to be able to do that?
Yeah, well, they've done a nice job protecting the ball. No turnovers, six takeaways. The Duke game is a 1-point game at half, And, Duke turned it over 5 times, and that was the name of the story right there. The 4 fumbles. So do a nice job of stripping the ball. But we're 5-1 in the turnover ratio as well. BB had a fumble his first carry. Other than that, we've been pretty clean, and we've been able to take the ball away ourselves. So line of scrimmage, turnover ratio, battle of explosives, being good in critical situations. Teams needs to be a win. That's always the formula. Never really has changed. So I think when you look at the two teams statistically, you'll see a lot of dominant numbers for the offense, defense, and special teams.
It was Kurt Signetti, a meeting with the media yesterday ahead of this weekend's game with the Illini. Hey, we're back tomorrow to do this again. Looking forward to it as we reach the midway point of the week. Appreciate you being along with us. Great thanks to Mike DeCourcy, Greg Rakestraw, and Jamie Shaw. Hope you guys go out and have yourselves a great day. Until tomorrow, I'm Jim Coyle. I will see you all.
Thanks for listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page for more clips and team coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and more. You can also find full episodes and tons of other content on thehoosier.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio.